I lost 3 babies through miscarriage. My sister-in-law took the names I'd chosen and gave them to her own children. Then she tampered with my vitamins, causing me to miscarry again. For years, I battled infertility, and it wasn't just any infertility. I was the false hope. Infertile. I suffered 3 miscarriages, all in the 2nd trimester. Fortunately, everyone was incredibly supportive except for my sister-in-law, who stroked my hair and promised to always stand by me the first time I cried in her lap. She told me that when her daughter, her baby, was born, I would be her godmother. I even began seeing her as one of my closest friends. Fast forward 2 weeks to her baby shower. That's where she revealed her child's name. As soon as she said it, ball rose in my throat. It was Lila, the same as my unborn daughters. When I confronted her, all she said was, "Well, it's not like you were going to use it," laughing like a pig on fire. Her words cut like knives. When my husband came over and asked what was going on, I explained, but instead of getting angry, he laughed. Men can be so clueless sometimes. So I waited until we were in the car driving home to explain the problem again. And my husband was the love of my life, but he was also passive because he grew up as the family's doormat, the kind who gets robbed on the street and apologizes for not having enough money to give. "That's just her way, honey." He sighed deeply. So I convinced myself that at least my unborn daughter's name would live on in someone else's child. And I focused on improving my fertility by becoming a healthy yoga practitioner, but it never worked. A year and a half later, another baby died in my womb. A few weeks after that, I was standing in a pharmacy aisle when I saw it. My sister-in-law had posted an announcement to celebrate her 2nd son. The message read as follows: "Welcome, baby Ethan. Thanks to Clara for the name suggestion. Her loss is my gain." This was followed by the pregnant and skull emojis. By the time she stole the name of my 3rd miscarriage, Amelia, I was numb. She used to text me nursery photos with captions like, "Bet you wish this could be for your Amelia." My husband defended her, saying I was too sensitive about names and pictures. After 4 years, I stopped expecting a child. Vanessa was expecting her 4th child and joked at family dinners about which name she should steal next. Everyone laughed. Everyone except me. That night, something inside me broke. If she wanted a unique name, I'd give her one she'd never forget. I waited until the next family gathering before breaking down in tears. I told Vanessa privately that I'd found something special in my late mother's diary, including a hidden middle name she never shared with anyone. Serafina. I explained that it meant sacred child in an ancient language. I even created fake diary pages and showed her a Pinterest board about honoring deceased relatives with baby names. Vanessa loved the name and ran with it. She announced to everyone that she was naming her daughter Serafina Rose to honor our family's hidden heritage. And this revenge plan worked perfectly for me until 8 months later, when the universe threw me an unexpected curveball. I was pregnant in the 3rd trimester. I almost burst into tears of happiness. No more memorials, no more wondering if there was something really wrong with me. My husband and I had been waiting for the announcement, not wanting to raise our hopes. That same week, we got the invitation. Vanessa invited us to her baby shower. I wore a baggy dress that hid everything. My husband supported my choice to stop worrying. Vanessa had gone all out for the shower, bigger than any before. The whole family was there, along with her mommy blog followers who had been following baby Serafina's progress for months. Vanessa was halfway through giving a speech about finding this treasured family name. I stood up. "Actually, Vanessa, I have something to announce, too," I explained, smoothing my dress over my now obvious belly. The room went completely silent. Vanessa's mouth dropped open mid-sentence. My mother-in-law knocked over her champagne glass. 29 weeks today, I said, rubbing my belly. We wanted to be sure this time. The room erupted with cheers and congratulations. Vanessa's face had lost all color. That's when my husband, the family peacekeeper, stepped forward and raised his hand. "Vanessa, you were saying something about Serafina, about all that research you did." Vanessa's face had gone from white to red. "Yes, it means sacred child and ancient." "That's so strange," he said, pulling out his phone. "Because when I look up Serafina, all I get are medical sites about constipation relief." I had to pinch my nose to keep from laughing. The rest of the room stayed quiet. I grabbed my husband's hand and left. It was a victorious moment for all 3 of us, but I was sound asleep by 4 a.m. I felt a sharp pain in my stomach, something I'd experienced 3 times before. My husband and I went to the hospital, but I already knew the truth. It was a miscarriage. It turned out one of my nighttime prenatal pills had been swapped with something harmful to my baby. I knew Vanessa was behind it. I couldn't sleep for days after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I remembered Vanessa's smug expression at the baby shower. The police said they couldn't prove anything about the vitamins. The bottle had mysteriously vanished from our bathroom, and the hospital couldn't pinpoint what chemical had caused the miscarriage. My husband has finally stopped defending his sister. He sat on our bed, holding the empty vitamin bottle we found buried in our trash can outside. His hands shook as he turned it over and over. Vanessa had come to our house just 2 days before the incident, claiming she wanted to help set up the nursery. I started documenting everything, every text, blog post, every cruel comment Vanessa had made over the years. My laptop became my constant companion as I pieced together a pattern that had once been too painful to see. 3 weeks after we lost our baby, I found something that froze my blood. Vanessa's best friend, Diana, worked at the pharmacy where I got all my prescriptions. I remembered them giggling together at family events. Diana often asked invasive questions about my fertility treatments. I went to the pharmacy while Diana was on shift. She saw me approaching and tried to slip into the back room, but I blocked her near the vitamin aisle. Her face went pale when I mentioned the prenatal vitamins. "I don't know what you're talking about," she whispered, her hands trembling as she straightened bottles on the shelves. That night, Vanessa posted on her mommy blog about toxic family members who make up false accusations. Within hours, her followers had flooded my social media with angry comments. My phone buzzed nonstop with notifications calling me jealous, delusional, and attention-seeking. My husband deleted his social accounts after his own sister's followers started harassing him too. We sat in our living room, curtains drawn, feeling like we were under siege. He apologized over and over for not believing me sooner. He had put up with Vanessa's antics for years. The next family dinner was held at Vanessa's house. We almost didn't go, but my husband's mother called him in tears, begging us not to let this silly misunderstanding break the family. Against my better judgment, we went. Vanessa had deliberately placed baby Serafina's bassinet in the middle of the dining room. Every time I looked up from my plate, I saw the name embroidered on the blanket. Vanessa kept saying that some people couldn't handle others' happiness. During dinner, Vanessa excused herself to nurse the baby. Her laptop was open on the kitchen counter, the screen still lit. I'm not sure what possessed me, but I found myself approaching it, pretending to get more water. The browser was open to her email. My heart raced as I saw subject lines about fertility herbs and natural miscarriage inducers. I quickly pulled out my phone, my hands shaking as I snapped photo after photo of the screen. "What are you doing?" Vanessa's voice sliced through the air like a knife. I spun around with the phone still in my hand. She lunged for it, but I pulled back. We tussled in the kitchen, her nails digging into my arm as she tried to grab my phone. "Give it to me." She snarled, but I held on. My husband heard the commotion and rushed in. For the first time in his life, he saw his sister's mask fully slip. Her face was twisted with rage, unlike the sweet persona she usually showed. "She's trying to steal my phone," Vanessa said quickly, tears welling in her eyes. "She's gone crazy, just like I told you all." But my husband had already seen the scratches on my arm and the wild look in his sister's eyes. He stepped between us, and for once he didn't side with her. "We're leaving," he said calmly, taking my hand. Vanessa's tears dried up instantly. "Fine, run away like always, but everyone's going to know the truth about her." We drove home in silence, my arm throbbing from where she had scratched me. I showed my husband the photos I'd taken. His face grew paler with each image. The next morning, Vanessa's mommy blog had a long essay about dealing with mentally unstable family members. She claimed I attacked her in her own home and had been faking my pregnancies for attention all along. She even shared a photo of herself with a minor bruise on her arm, even though I had never touched her. Her followers ate it up. Comments poured in about how strong she was and how hard it must be to have such a vindictive relative. Some even started a hashtag called Justice for Vanessa. My husband's mother called within hours. "You need to apologize," she began, without even asking for my side of the story. "This has gone too far. Vanessa's considering filing a restraining order. She poisoned my baby." I couldn't help but yell. "Don't be ridiculous," my husband's mother said. "Vanessa would never do something like that. You're clearly having some kind of breakdown. Maybe you should get help." My husband took the phone from me. "Mom, you didn't see what happened. Vanessa attacked Clara, not the other way around." "Oh please," his mother scoffed, "you're always taking her side now." Vanessa showed me security footage from her kitchen. It clearly shows Clara snooping on her computer. My heart sank. Of course, Vanessa had edited the footage to leave out our struggle, making me look like the aggressor. My husband argued with his mother for a few more minutes before hanging up, frustrated. Over the next few days, things got much worse than I could have imagined. Vanessa filed a report with Child Protective Services, claiming I was mentally unstable and shouldn't be allowed to adopt children. She had found out we had started the adoption process months earlier, before our last pregnancy. The social worker who came to our home was professional, but clearly influenced by the reports filed. Apparently, Vanessa's mommy blog followers had been calling the adoption agency, sending emails about my dangerous behavior. We've received over 50 complaints, the social worker explained, flipping through her file. While we have to investigate all claims, I want you to know that orchestrated campaigns like this usually indicate someone has an agenda. We provided character references, medical records proving my mental health was fine, and anything else we could think of, but the damage was done. Our adoption application was put on hold while the agency conducted an investigation. I cried in my husband's arms that night. Vanessa had not only stolen my baby's names, she was trying to take away any chance I had at motherhood. The next morning brought more pain. Vanessa had shared photos of me snooping on her computer, conveniently editing out anything related to her research on herbs that cause miscarriage. Her fans called me a criminal and demanded I be arrested for invasion of privacy. My husband and I sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by printed emails from the adoption agency. Each one described another concerned person who had contacted them about my alleged mental illness. The language was oddly similar across many messages, indicating clear coordination. Diana called me that afternoon. Her voice trembled as she whispered into the phone. "Meet me at the park on Elm Street. Come alone, I have to tell you something." My husband wanted to come with me, but I knew Diana would bolt if she saw him. I found her sitting on a bench near the playground, nervously watching mothers push their kids on swings. "I can't do this anymore," she said as soon as I sat down. "Vanessa's gone too far. The vitamins. She made me switch them. Said it was just harmless herbs to help with your anxiety." My hands balled into fists. "You knew what they were." Diana's eyes filled with tears. "She had dirt on me. I've been skimming meds from the pharmacy, just anxiety pills for myself. Nothing serious, but she found out somehow and threatened to expose me unless I helped her." I pulled out my phone to record, but Diana grabbed my arm. "No recordings. I'll deny everything if you try to use this against me. I wanted you to know I'm sorry and to warn you. She's not done." "What do you mean she's not done?" Diana looked around anxiously. "She's been stealing your mail. Has copies of all your adoption papers. She knows which agency you're using, who your caseworker is, everything." My blood ran cold. We'd been wondering why some of our mail seemed to disappear. Diana stood to leave, but I grabbed her arm. "You have to tell someone. The police, the adoption agency, anyone." She pulled away from me. "I can't lose my job. I have kids too." She hurried off, leaving me alone on the bench. That night my husband installed security cameras all over our house. We changed all our locks and forwarded our mail to a P.O. box. It felt like we were gearing up for war. Vanessa's next move came at Thanksgiving dinner. The whole family gathered at my husband's mother's house, and the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Vanessa arrived late, but made a grand entrance with her 4 kids dressed in coordinating outfits. Throughout the meal, she made snide remarks about people who can't let go of the past and the importance of mental health therapy. My husband's jaw clenched with each jab, but he remained silent. As we were clearing dessert plates, Vanessa stood and tapped her wine glass. "I have an announcement." The room went quiet. Vanessa's hand moved to her belly in the familiar gesture I'd used so many times before. "We're expecting again, and I've already picked the perfect name." My husband's mother gasped in delight. "Oh, Vanessa, how wonderful." "Yes," Vanessa said, her gaze fixed on mine. "If it's a girl, we're naming her Margaret after Clara's dear late mother." The room spun. My mother had died only 6 months ago. Her name was the last sacred thing I had left. I stood up so fast my chair toppled backward. "You wouldn't dare," I whispered. Vanessa's smile was pure evil. "Why not? It's such a beautiful name and someone should use it since you obviously can't." My husband was on his feet now too. "That's enough, Vanessa. You've crossed every line." "Have I?" Vanessa yelled. "She's the one who hacked my computer. She's the one spreading lies about me. I'm just trying to honor family traditions by reusing the names of dead babies." My husband's voice was deadly quiet. The room exploded. My husband's father started yelling about keeping the peace. Vanessa's husband looked confused, asking what was going on. The kids started crying. In the chaos, Vanessa grabbed her phone and started live streaming to her parenting vlog followers. "You can see how I'm being attacked in my own family," she told the camera, "all because I want to honor my relative's mother." My husband took my hand. "We're leaving." As we headed for the door, Vanessa called out, "Oh, Clara, you might want to check with the adoption agency. I heard they got some very interesting information about your mental health history." We drove home in silence, both too angry to speak. When we got home, our adoption caseworker had left a message on our answering machine, asking us to call right away. My hands shook as I dialed the number. The caseworker's tone was carefully neutral as she explained that they had received documents indicating I had been hospitalized for psychiatric issues multiple times. "That's not true," I said, my voice breaking. "I've never been hospitalized for anything except my miscarriages." "I understand," she replied, "but we have to investigate these claims. Can you provide your complete medical history?" After I hung up, my husband found me sobbing on our bedroom floor. He held me as I cried, whispering promises that we'd fight it and Vanessa wouldn't win. The next day, we went to the hospital to get my medical records. The administrator looked at my file and frowned. "This is strange. There are entries here I don't recognize." My heart dropped as she showed us the screen. Someone had added fake psychiatric hospitalizations to my electronic records, complete with diagnoses of delusional disorder and pathological lying. "This is fraud," the administrator said. "We'll have to investigate how someone accessed our system." It took 2 weeks to get the fake entries removed and confirmed as fraudulent. During that time, Vanessa escalated her campaign. She set up fake social media accounts in my name and posted crazy rants about wanting to kidnap other people's babies. She sent anonymous tips to my employer about my emotional instability. My husband started documenting everything. He bought a small recorder to clip on his shirt and capture every interaction with his family. His mother called him paranoid, but he didn't care. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Vanessa's oldest daughter, Lila, now 8, came to our house one evening when her parents were out. "Aunt Clara," she started softly, "I have to tell you something. Mommy makes us lie about you." My husband immediately started recording as Lila described how her mother forced her and her siblings to tell people I was mean to them, scared them, and said bad things about their family. "She practices with us," Lila added, "makes us repeat the lies until we say them right." "I don't want it anymore. You've never been mean to us." We saved the recording and added it to our growing collection of evidence. But Vanessa must have found out about Lila's visit because the next day she posted about how I was manipulating innocent children and turning them against their mother. Her followers were outraged, sending death threats to my social media. Someone doxed my work address online and protesters showed up at my office with signs accusing me of killing babies and stalking children. My boss called me into his office. "I know this isn't your fault," he said, "but it's affecting the company. Maybe you should take some time off until this blows over." I was effectively suspended from my job. Vanessa had ruined my reputation, my career prospects, and my adoption chances, but she wasn't satisfied yet. 2 weeks later, my husband's grandmother turned 90. We debated not going, but his grandmother had always been kind to me, and I didn't want to let her down. The party was at a restaurant. We figured neutral ground was safe. Vanessa showed up late as usual, making sure all eyes were on her. She greeted relatives cheerfully and gushed over her pregnancy, which was now obviously showing. During the cake cutting, I excused myself to go to the bathroom. Vanessa followed me in, checking the stalls to make sure we were alone before turning to face me. "You should just give up," she said casually, touching up her makeup in the mirror. "You're never going to be a mother. The adoption agency has already rejected your application." "Oh, didn't you know? I have a friend who works there." I stayed silent, remembering my husband's recorder was capturing everything. Vanessa continued, mistaking my silence for defeat. "It was so easy, really. Diana at the pharmacy, my friend at the hospital who helped with your medical records, the social worker who owed me a favor. You never had a chance." "Why?" I finally asked. "What did I ever do to you?" Vanessa's reflection smiled at me. "You married him. You took my brother away from me. He was supposed to always put me first. And then you came along with your infertility drama and suddenly he cared more about you than me. So you killed my babies?" Vanessa laughed. "I didn't kill anything. You did that all on your own. I just helped nature along with the last one. Think of it as a mercy. You're obviously not meant to be a mother." I walked out of the bathroom without saying a word, my heart pounding. We finally had her confession on tape. But when my husband checked the recorder that night, The battery had mysteriously died just as Vanessa followed me into the restroom. We had nothing. Vanessa's husband then called my husband and requested a private meeting. We thought he would threaten us, but instead he looked tired and broken. I found her journal, he explained, sliding a leather-bound notebook across the table. I wasn't snooping. It fell out of her purse. I think you need to see this. Page after page detailed Vanessa's plans to destroy me, her glee at each miscarriage, and her collaboration with Diana and others to sabotage my life. But what was most chilling were the entries about other family members she had targeted over the years. She poisoned her husband's mother's dog when the woman advised her to wait on having kids. She had sabotaged her cousin's wedding by sleeping with the groom. She had gotten her college roommate expelled by planting drugs in her dorm room. I don't know who I married, Vanessa's husband said, his voice breaking. The kids, I'm filing for divorce. I'll testify about what I've seen if you need me to. We copied every page of the journal before giving it back. We finally had solid evidence, but Vanessa struck first. The next morning, police showed up at our house with a warrant. Someone reported that we were dealing drugs, so they needed to search our home. My husband and I sat in our living room, watching officers tear apart our carefully constructed lives. They found nothing, of course, but the damage was done. Our neighbors stared from their windows as police cars lined the street. After the police left, we found a note under our front doormat. Vanessa's handwriting, "Stop now or next time they'll find something." That night, my husband and I made a decision. We'd compile everything we had and force the family to face the truth about Vanessa once and for all. We called a family meeting at my husband's mother's house, saying we had important news to share. Vanessa walked in looking smug, perhaps thinking we were going to announce our surrender. Instead, my husband hooked up his laptop to the TV and started presenting our evidence. Vanessa's journal entries, computer screenshots, and her husband's testimony, even Lila's recorded confession about being forced to lie. The audience went silent as the evidence piled up. Vanessa's expression changed from arrogant to scared to angry. My husband's mother gasped when we showed her the journal entry where she poisoned the dog. "Mittens didn't just die," she said softly. Vanessa jumped to her feet. "This is all fake. They're trying to frame me because they're jealous of my perfect family." But her husband stood up too. "It's true, all of it. I've seen the real journal. Vanessa, you need help." The dam broke. Other relatives started sharing their own stories about Vanessa's cruelty over the years. Her pattern of behavior became clear. Vanessa's mask finally shattered completely. She screamed at everyone, calling them traitors and backstabbers. She grabbed a vase and threw it against the wall, scattering shattered glass across the room. "You want to ruin me?" She shouted at me, "You barren witch, you'll never have what I have." Never. Her oldest child, Ethan, started crying. "Mom, stop, you're scaring us." But Vanessa was beyond reason. She lunged at me, and this time I didn't back down. My husband and hers had to separate us as she clawed at my face and yelled obscenities. "I should have used something stronger in those vitamins," she said. "I should have made sure you could never even try again." The room went utterly still. Vanessa seemed to realize what she had just admitted. My husband's father's voice was ice cold. "Leave my house. Don't come back." Vanessa looked around the room at her family, her children, and husband. They all stared at her with fear and disgust. "Fine," she snarled, "but I'm taking my kids." "No," her husband said firmly, "you're not. Kids, come here." All 4 children rushed to their father, including baby Serafina in Lila's arms. Vanessa stood alone in the middle of the room. She walked out without another word, slamming the door behind her, finally facing the consequences of her actions. The family sat in stunned silence for a moment before my husband's mother started to cry. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed, reaching for my hand. "I should have believed you. All those babies, I'm so sorry." The fallout was swift. Diana, afraid of losing her pharmacist license, confessed everything about switching my vitamins. She provided receipts, texts from Vanessa, and whatever else was needed to confirm what happened. Vanessa's husband filed for emergency custody and a restraining order. The divorce proceedings cited her journal as proof she was an unfit parent. He also revealed he had found searches on her computer for ways to cause miscarriage going back years. Vanessa's parenting empire crumbled after someone leaked excerpts from her journal to her followers. The woman who had built her brand as the perfect mom was exposed as a calculated sociopath who poisoned family members and ruined pregnancies. Within days, she had lost everything: her husband, kids, relatives, and online fans. The adoption agency called to apologize and reinstate our application, noting that the false accusations would actually help our case by demonstrating our ability to overcome adversity. 3 months later, my husband and I were in a courthouse, finalizing the adoption of twin infants. We named them Amelia and Ethan, reclaiming the names Vanessa had stolen. As we signed the papers, I thought about the long road that had led us here. Vanessa was facing criminal charges for tampering with the vitamins, but her lawyer was pushing for a plea deal that included mental health treatment instead of prison. Her children were thriving with their father, now free from their mother's toxic influence. Lila had started calling me Aunt Clara again and asked if she could help babysit the twins when they were older. "I want to be a good big cousin," she'd explained, "not like my mom was a sister." As we drove home with our babies, my husband reached over and squeezed my hand. We survived Vanessa's reign of terror and came out stronger. The twins cooed in their car seats, and I smiled through my tears. Vanessa had tried to steal everything from me, but in the end, she had only stolen from herself. I had my family, my children, and my life back, and Vanessa had exactly what she'd always given others, the consequences of her own cruelty. The courthouse adoption ceremony wrapped up around noon. By 12:30, Vanessa was already causing problems. My husband spotted her first, standing across the street from the courthouse steps where we were taking photos with Amelia and Ethan. She wore oversized sunglasses and a baseball cap, but her stiff stance gave her away.